Welcome to the OMG Podcast, brought to you by Onward Media Group. Join us as we explore storytelling with video, life as a startup, and community impact in Kitchener Waterloo. We dive into industry trends, behind-the-scenes insights, and the challenges and successes of our journey. Whether you're a creative, entrepreneur, or just passionate about video and storytelling, we've got something for you. Now let's get into today's episode.
So welcome to the first iteration, the pilot episode of the tentatively titled OMG Podcast. I'm thinking either OMG, a podcast, or the OMG Podcast. We'll come up with a name.
Sounds good.
But my name is Jordan Taylor. I'm the video program manager here at Onward Media Group. And with me is my co-host for today, Paul O'Shea. Welcome.
Thanks, Jordan. Yeah, great to be here. Excited with all the capabilities that Onward has. In the studio now, it's a great look. It's a great new refresh that we've come with some new exciting content. So I'm really, really excited to be with the team and make some good content and help. Definitely. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're helping people tell their story in a meaningful way that's sticky, that's relevant, that is not just a video blasted out on the internet hoping that it sticks, because there's lots of stuff out there that doesn't hit the mark and people just glaze over it. And, I think there's a lot more behind the scenes, and there's a lot more happen in that sausage making that, is the big differentiator between doing good content and doing bad content. And so that's why it's great to be here. It's great to be working with the group, and I'm just excited.
Well, and it's been a pleasure having you on the team. You've been here a good few weeks now, and you've had just a ton of insights on the relationship that content does and or can have with customers, not only from a sales perspective, but then also like just general marketing and what the market is looking for when it comes to content marketing. It's a very layered thing, but
yes.
So you and Darren, our new CEO, were having a great chat on one of our internal meetings the other day. And I just really wanted to double click into that conversation just about the shift to self-directed buyers. So tell me and our listeners a little bit about what you and Darren were chatting about with regards to that.
Yeah, it's an important piece to think about. And, when I think about my early days of, in sales, hitting the ground, pounding the pavement, making cold calls, for a long time was the de facto thing. That was your main resource, especially, when you look at, the early 2000s, even in the, I was still in university in the 90s, but, coming out in, fresh into the sales force, you basically had a book of business, you got a phone, and, you have a manager pop by and say, hey, check the phone. Oh, listen to the phone. Hey, it sounds like there's a dial tone. It looks like it's still working. And, that was the motivation. That was always a fun, joke in the sales pit. But, it's really gone from a shift of, cold calling was the main medium, and using telephone. And, even, dating myself, you go back and, cell phones weren't as prevalent as they are today, but, everybody's got their cell phone on them, which is their web browser, their planner. They can do so much on their phones now that they're almost, in a sense, overwhelmed with all the content coming through. So just having that one more phone call coming to you that you have no idea where it's coming from in this landscape today, it seems like it's more obtrusive, it's more disruptive for the person that is using their smartphone for everything and anything, is that they don't want to be bothered again on a cold call or a cold outreach. And that in self-directed buyer these days is looking for ways to interact less with a salesperson. they want to do that product discovery themselves
on their own. Yeah.
And especially, you know, there's still some forms in some layers where cold calls still work, but it's essential these days that you need to have meaningful media content to really deliver your message and to really create that stickiness so that somebody's actually interested and engaged. And you really want to be able to warm them up with that content before trying to engage them in a hey, I just called you out of the blue. Do you mind if I tell you a little bit more about what we do? A lot of times, if you can warm them up and you know they've engaged, they've liked your content,
they've seen what you're putting out there.
Yeah, exactly. And it just makes that much. It just makes a stronger impact and get you more traction, because it's, you know, I've seen in previous companies where you have the auto dialer, and it's you know, you can make up on an auto dialer, you could make up to, you know, 900 or so calls in a single day by a rep, and then, you know, you get that pause. Everybody's felt it, you know, when you have, you know, that air, you know, I got to get my ducts cleaned, and, you know, you have somebody calling you to say, hey, you know, we do air duct cleaning and or whatever it might be, you know, window cleaning or any type of service that they're going to call you out of the blue. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, you know, they always say, oh, well, you know, that salespeople lie. Well, prospects lie. Yeah. Prospects, you know, I don't know how many times I've said, actually, I've got electric heat through on baseboard heating, so I don't need my ducts cleaned. Thanks.
Right.
You know, I'm lying to them to get them off the phone. Right. And, you know, and you think of the number of reps and the number of calls that somebody has to make throughout a day to even get, you know, that 1% to 2%. You know, it's these days, it's not about, you know, I saw this online, and I really like this thought, is that you think of the word prospecting. Back in the day, prospecting, it goes back to gold prospectors. Yeah. They're going through the rivers, they're digging out, you know, going through trying to sift and find gold. Yeah. Well, you know, today's market, you know, prospecting is a different thing. People know how to find, they want to find their own journey first. And yes, there might be the complex sales cycle where, you know, that salesperson needs to interact with that prospect or that customer to lead them down the path of this is how you should buy this, or this is how you should buy that, and more of a consultative approach. But yeah, today's self-directed buyer, they want to do that. They want to do the discovery themselves. They want to be, if they're going to interact with somebody, they want to interact with somebody that they know and that they trust and that they like.
And so video helps with that then.
Yeah, it helps, one, with the trust factor. It helps with the known factor. So it's not, you know, the hope is that, you know, the people that you're targeting have seen your content or have engaged in your content, whether it's, you know, a video blog, whether it's a podcast, whether it's, you know, a LinkedIn story or a customer success story. Those are the stories that will resonate with people when you have to do that outbound reach. I think it's, you know, video is just that's how people see things and communicate with things in today's media. It's, you know, cold calling is just, you know, it's not dead, but it's definitely falling off dramatically in effectiveness.
And also too, like you know, you mentioned video. I the way I see it, obviously in my very biased opinion as working in video for a good amount of time now, that it's, to me, it is the closest thing to an interaction with a fellow human being that can be done from another part of the world. Right? Like there's, if you're cold calling, you just have the human voice, which is better than maybe like strictly textual or via an email or whatever it is. Yeah. Right. But having being able to kind of see the like body language and seeing those little human like quirks when speaking about whether it's like a product you should know about, a methodology you should be incorporating, or just educating on, oh, this is this thing that exists out in the world, by seeing another human being talk about that either by themselves or with someone else, but being able to see that it's like being able to feel like you're in a room with somebody. Right. And then have that be available, whether it's through your smartphone, your computer, tablet, whatever it is. Being able to kind of be that fly on the wall, it's as close as you can get to being in a room with that same person without having to actually be in the room with them. So there's still scalability there. They're still, able to live in this new remote hybrid work culture that we're in. And also while staying with the times of like you said, like today's media, right?
Right. Yeah. There's just so much thrown out at people, and as much as you can show them instead of tell them.
Exactly.
Because people don't want to be told this is the best thing. Everybody's going to say they've got the best product or the best service.
Yeah.
But if you can show them in a customer interview, or you can show them in an example, or a well choreographed way to explain a concept or an idea and why it's different from the rest of your competitors, or why it's going to help you accelerate your business, or why it's going to help you accelerate your sales or your marketing, whatever, or the corporate mission, and you want to get the vision across. And like you said, when you talk about remote, when, a CEOs don't have a lot of time, they want to be able to, and I think a lot of the, the vision of, making this, especially with Onward, making it a streamlined, efficient process for high-level decision makers and influencers that need to get their message across, but everybody's constrained on time. And especially those leaders that, are flying here, flying there. They've got the board meeting here. They've got to create, reports for this reviewer. They have to work with their team in this region or this part of the country. They're pulled so many different directions, and from a sales approach as well, I'm sure they're getting bombarded with salespeople and executive team members trying to get their attention. So they've only got a certain window of time where they want to be able to come in and say, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to answer some questions, and I don't care how the sausage is made in the background, but I want to walk out of there and know my marketing team is going to be able to push out content in multiple various channels for the next 2 to 3 months. And I don't have to worry about, again, trying to engage with the marketing teams on an ongoing basis or go for X number of hours of recordings. We want to make it streamlined. And I think that's a real value in today's world where time is so essential, and
Definitely.
And making sure that you can get the most out of that time from those leaders. That if you've got a window, you've got a 1 hour window, how can you make the best out of that 1 hour window? And I think, what Onward's done, I think the team has really collected, brought together that formula on how to streamline that and how to make it efficient for those leaders or those groups that want to tell their story, that whether it's their own personal story or their customer story, it's just the better way to do things. And, it's, when I go back, some of the, the marketing initiatives that I've seen in other tech companies that I've worked with, and some of the media groups, and, you think there's some pitfalls when you're working with a group that don't have that process down pat.
Yeah.
And I've seen it where, a previous marketing director I was working with, she had to go through, 4 or 5 edits. And I get it, with video messaging, you're going to have a lot of back and forth, but they just weren't capturing the essence of it. There were so many revisions that, a $6,000-7,000 project turned into a $10,000 project because of the back and forth and just the extra time and effort to put that together. So, which can leave a lot of folks, marketing departments, internal sales teams, almost feeling like they're snake bit. I tried video content and tried video marketing, but we spent all this money and look at the output. What am I going to do with this now? And I think unfortunately there's a lot of cases where that happens, and I think that's where the Onward solution really, I think for me, the way I see it is what's going to separate us from the pack is that you've got a very compact process and it's professional. You get your content and you just push it out
and go from there.
Yeah. Push it out, share your story.
Yeah. I feel like there's definitely something to be said about finding the balance between the expertise on storytelling balanced with the expertise of a little bit of like just general business acumen, but then also balancing that out with I guess a little bit of project management too, right? Because there needs to be a little bit of both of those. And we'll double click into that right after this short break.
Darren Bondi here with Onward Media Group. We're excited to announce that with our newly renovated studio space, we can now offer professional quality podcasts right here at Catalyst 137. Our services range from audio only to full multi-camera setups. We've got a variety of backgrounds we can use to make sure it fits your style and theme. Contact us today to book your first podcast, and we'll chat soon.
All right, so we're back. So another thing that we were just talking about, and I want to really hone in on, is finding that balance for a leader. Like when we are working with a leader, we want to find that balance between our area of expertise, which is video, storytelling, and marrying that with the efficiency, the streamlinedness that a leader requires when working with any partner, really, not just video storytelling or marketing, but whatever. And what do you see as our way to be able to kind of marry those two together of being able to leverage video as what it can be, of this incredibly powerful storytelling tool to be able to connect leaders, businesses with who they're trying to reach, whether it's investors, whether it's customers, whether it's other business partners, and balancing that out with providing a positive partner experience. Because to your point, like you were mentioning before, a lot of people have been burned. And so there's a necessity for us to be able to find this balance between what makes us great, but then also hopefully finding a way that makes us a pleasure to work with too.
Right. No, it's a great point. I mean, when you think about, maybe that leader or that influencer, they're using their own internal marketing teams, and it's from my understanding, and I've kind of tested this hypothesis with other marketing agencies and companies, is that a lot of times to have the full expertise of video production and to do things right, a lot of these agencies, medium to large, aren't carrying a video production crew because it's expensive. Yeah. There's a lot of overhead involved. If you're doing it the right way, you can have somebody fresh out of, an intern that's, hey, I like doing videography as well. And they may be using, a decent camera or a
freelancer.
Exactly. Or using a freelancer. But are they passionate and an expert in bringing the story out of that in that time slot? Yeah. You can, maybe you're good at, making sure you've captured the right, background, and you've got a decent video equipment, but are you catching the essence? And I think when you look at, the experience of the Onward team, when you have 20 plus years experience and, creativity around storytelling, when you've got the experience in editing and cinematography, that's the real essence of making sure that it also reinforces that customer experience. Is that, one, you have a system and a process in place that, you go and have that, you're already teeing up those questions. You've planned it out. You've done it so many times that eventually it becomes a standardized process for the ones that do it all the time. Yeah. But if you have that video intern, they're not going to know, okay, these are the questions I should ask, or this is what really sticks, or this is what resonates with what I've seen before. Is that you're going to maybe you get lucky and you get a really good capture and you got some content, but it's to get something consistent and to get something flowing all the time, you really do need an expert staff and team working with you. And to get that full experience, you want to make sure that, we capture them in that limited time that we have that leader, and we give them really good content at the end, and they're really happy about spending that time. Because, you go to a business owner that's, say a real estate firm, and, he'd rather be showing houses instead of sitting in a studio for 2 to 3 hours trying to get his message out. It's almost like a have to for them. It's not like they are excited to do, to spend all their day in a studio. They want to be able to get as much out of their limited time and be able to push it out, and have not just push out content just to push out, but to push out some really good stuff that is going to it's going to speak to people and create that traction. Because what's the point of going through the motions and doing it just to do it, when I've seen so many stale videos that, you hear even the audio, you hear the echo, and it's somebody just doing it from their smartphone, and you think, well, wow, like that's what you're pushing out. Are you sure you want to, that's going to be your leading video content initiative? I get it. Some people are doing it on, some are doing bootstrap, and they've only got limited resources. Yep. But for the medium to large size businesses, it's, why not go the extra mile? Because it's going to make that big of a difference. Exactly. Because you can have a mediocre video versus a high quality video. You can push it out the same way, but it's not gonna resonate.
It's not gonna land the same way. Exactly.
At the end of the day, if it's not good, nobody's gonna look at it.
Exactly. And I think it's the great thing about even hopefully what this podcast will be able to become as well too, is also helping on the educating folks side as well too, right? Of understanding not only like not all videos are created equal, and also while something can be good from a technical standpoint, right? To your earlier point of like, you can have something shot with a nice camera, good lighting, even good audio, but if the essence of the story isn't there, it's going to fall flat. Right. But conversely, you could have a decent story there, but if from a technical standpoint, it looks bad, it sounds bad, or it looks maybe not necessarily bad, but it looks amateur, it's going to land either not land at all, or it's going to land very differently than if you're able to kind of bring both of those things together. And fortunately, we've had the fortune of being able to work with not only like someone who is maybe a solopreneur, a team of one, and is very actively involved and maybe has a little bit more time to invest into things like video storytelling from a time perspective. But then we've also worked with leaders who are, have hundreds of employees, are bringing in, tens, if not hundreds of millions in revenue, and need something that is quick, streamlined, and the approach on how to manage a video storytelling project with those different tiers or different types of folks is like, you're going to need a different approach. And because we've had the experience, some of us on the team, like we've done freelancing, we've worked with influencers, we've worked within corporations, we worked as like video marketing agencies, and kind of anything and everything in between. We've developed the kind of the muscle memory in these different types of ways of working, right? And it's fortunately, I think is what makes us well suited to kind of fit wherever we're needed, right? And now hopefully again practicing what we preach here with the podcast and being not only able to educate people on the video medium in general, but then also being able to let people know like we're here, we are confident in our ability to deliver, we're confident in our ability to see the need that people have, and also that we need ourselves to also be seen as well, doing the things that we do and being able to speak about what we know confidently, so that when we do have those more organic connections with folks, they're coming from a place of, oh, I've seen your podcast, or oh, I've seen your posts on social media, or oh, I know you through this person and they've said good things about you. That it's all coming together in that sense, and hopefully that when it comes time for us to be able to position what we do through video as a viable medium that another business or leader or influencer can use, we can say, well, we do it for not only for our other clients, but also for ourselves. And here are the results that it garners.
That's right. Yeah. We're basically practicing what we preach in a sense. And in the feeling that I've got, working with the Onward team is that you have 20 years plus of experience across, the cinematography, the editing, the storytelling, all those components come together, and you have the expertise and the experience of a multi-million-dollar ad agency, but with less of like the multi-million-dollar retainers.
Yeah.
We still have that small, lean and mean. This is how we do it. We're going to get you in. We're going to get you out. We're going to make this as efficient as possible. And you get that one-on-one, the medium to small company approach and attention to detail, attention and one-on-one with the clients, instead of just working with, maybe 3 or 4 account managers and a multi-million-dollar ad agency is the other option. Yeah, I think overall the feeling of working with, an ad agency, a multi-million-dollar ad agency versus, a group like Onward, we carry the same expertise, we carry the same passion, experience.
Yeah.
But you're going to get that small company feel because we're going to interact. You're going to be dealing with the CEO, you're going to be dealing with the whole team directly, instead of worrying about filtering through, okay, I got to talk to this account manager, I got to talk to this person. It's very one-on-one approach, consultative approach, but at the same time, we want to make sure that being cognizant of everybody's time, and that, this isn't something unfortunately, not everybody's excited about. Hey, I got to go do this video thing so I can post my content. A lot of times it's the marketing teams that are maybe, asking some of these leaders to come in and do this. So we want to make sure that experience is great for everybody, and kind of change that paradigm of, oh, I'm gonna go do this, and I don't know what the outcome's going to be. But when they come to Onward, they're going to get that great end-to-end service. They're going to be happy. It's going to be efficient, and they're going to love what the output's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that I really hope to be able to see a little bit more on the show here will also be chatting with those leaders and giving them kind of that warm experience, right? So if there are any leaders who are listening, definitely chat with us, engage with us, find us on social media, Onward Media Group on all platforms, and reach out to us if you want to kind of dip your toes in to see, okay, what's it like engaging with video content from the top end, right? Okay, I've seen what a podcast looks like when it's posted online, or I've heard what it sounds like, or I've seen people post these viral clips on social media, but what is it like to get to that point, right? Have a chat with us. Like you mentioned, you can chat with any one of us on the team individually. You can chat with Darren, our CEO. You can talk to the entire team at once if you want, right? And be able to kind of change the paradigm that, one might have themselves of a video, and be able to look at it as not just, it's just a marketing strategy, but it can not only tick that box, but it can also be a way to authentically connect with whoever you're looking to connect with in a way that supplements and supports all the other efforts that you have kind of ongoing as well. And what makes, a business, a leader, whoever it is, makes them great at whatever it is that they do.
Right. Right. It's the power of video and being able to really show that passion. And again, you talk about showing instead of telling. You can have somebody call you up and out of the blue on your cell phone. You're not going to get that passion. You're not going to get, you're going to have somebody telling you why they're calling you and explaining, this is the reason, but they may be, you don't know what's going on with their day. They could be in the middle of something. They could be annoyed and, what do you got? How did you get my number? That's, a knee-jerk reaction for a lot of folks these days when they do get, called. How did you get my number? Because these days, you could go pull Zoom data. You could pull, all these different, lists that you can pull together, and half the time they're cell phones versus office phones because a lot of people are working remote these days. And so if you're catching somebody on their cell phone, again, I feel, unless they know you, or you've been warmed up to them, or it's going to be an uphill battle. And I think it's a paradigm that I think more and more sales folks are dealing with, and that, everybody's just flooded, inundated, and the spam calling nowadays, they're so smart and tactful on, hey, now you can match my area code, even though you're calling, on the other side of the world, how to make it look like you're maybe a local or familiar number. And then you hear that pause and hey, I'm on the queue with another 975 dials that's going to happen on that day.
Exactly.
And it just sucks the life out of, that initial contact. Are you going to leave with a lasting impression, or are you going to annoy the heck out of that prospect that you want to talk to?
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to the idea of prospecting back in the day, like the gold prospectors. They were going to find gold. They're going where folks these days, if they have a problem, they know they can go online easily and find it. Or if they have a pain, they know they can go online and find what they need. And so it's where, having meaningful content, and the best way to provide meaningful content is through video, because you can cold call somebody and then set them up in an email sequence, and you send them 4 or 5 emails with some you think they're silver bullet subject headers. Hey, but that automatically goes to their spam box. I don't know how many people don't even see them. Whether you're in a decision maker, whether you're a director or a VP, their inboxes get crowded with these magical silver bullet headlines that they're just, if it doesn't go to their spam, they're just delete. Okay, what do I have to worry about today? Yeah. So it's, sequencing and cold calling. There are times and places, but I think it's just been overused so much throughout the years, and it just been a standard de facto. Hey, this is how it's done. Yeah, is that people are becoming numb to it, and that's where I think going by way of video more and more, I think is where people should be leaning towards, because that's how you tell your story. You don't. It's hard to catch people anymore in that that 30 to 50 second elevator pitch that you have, when they could be having crying babies, or maybe they just got out of a meeting, they have to rush to the bathroom, and they picked up your phone just by chance. What do you got? What do you need? Who is this? How'd you get my number? It's so easy to get into that trap time and time again. And if you warm them up another way, there's different ways these days. And I think, any way you can get them to find you first is always going to be, the utopia of any sales team or any organization that needs to drive revenue. Is you got to find a way other than just blasting them and annoying the crap out of them until they finally just submit because they've heard about you so many times, or they've blocked out your email, or they've heard your dial. They just want to get it over with. Exactly. You don't want to approach it that way. I think, it's essential that you have kind of a combination of many ways to reach them. And I think starting with video is a great way to begin telling your story.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And this has been a great conversation. I hope that and any and everyone listening to this has been able to pull some value and has given people some nuggets, some food for thought to think about, not only with regards to their relationship with video in general, but then also thinking of how it can help serve their purposes and being able to have their story connect with whoever they need to connect with too for their business goals. So Paul, thank you so much for making the time to jump on the show today. If anybody is curious on reaching out to you to hear your thoughts a little bit more about Onward related stuff, video storytelling in general.
The best way, if somebody has questions or want to understand how they integrate it with their enterprise sales process, you can reach me at paul@onwardmediagroup.com. And I'm not the expert building the sausage behind the scenes, but I know and I'm passionate about what the team is doing. And I'd be really excited to talk to you about your upcoming projects. And when you talk about the standardization and the streamlined process, if you get a business leader in here and we're working with them, part of it is that we can try to attack it in a way of killing a couple birds with one stone, in a sense, where maybe they have a corporate story or a vision that they want to get across internally and across the group, but also have that exterior messaging going out in, your multiple channels, whether it's, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever channel medium they want to use is, we can tailor it so that, you can portray that corporate vision, that message internally, so that content can be used, but then also tackle that external messaging at the same time. So again, really just making the most of the studio time so that those teams and individuals say, hey, that wasn't so bad. I don't feel like I'm snake bit or feel overwhelmed every time I want to do something in regards to media or video production. I want somebody to come to Onward and say, hey, that was seamless. I got a lot of stuff, whether corporate storytelling or customer facing storytelling. I got a lot out of just that one quick session, and look at the content that I got out of it. That's where I want customers to walk away, and the leaders and the ones that are really trying to get their message across. That's at the core is what we want our customers to feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And if again, if you're listening to this or watching this and you're curious to hear about even the more technical, the more video side, the post-production, the magical world of editing, you can reach out to me. Again, my name is Jordan Taylor. You can find me, jordan@onwardmediagroup.com. And I also encourage you to and follow us on Instagram, Onward Media Group, or just head to our website, onwardmediagroup.com, for all things related to us. Paul, again, thank you so much for joining the show today.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. It's been fun.
It's been amazing. And I hope people tune into the next episode, because I believe our next episode, we will actually have a very influential leader here in the Kitchener Waterloo area. Big leader, big company. So be sure to stay tuned to the next episode.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the OMG Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained some valuable insights into storytelling with video, startup life, and our community impact in Kitchener Waterloo. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on social media to stay updated on future episodes. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, reach out to us at info@onwardmediagroup.com.